it is not streaming publicly?
It is streaming on YouTube, but I'll check it is private.
You shouldn't logically be able to see that then.
Because I'm a host, I got a notification that meeting is being streamed on YouTube.
That's okay, but can you go to my YouTube and check?
Yeah, I'll just check it right away.
Immediately.
Yeah, it's opening. I will in the meeting. My phone is faster.
Is it streaming publicly?
You'll have to give me 1 second to check. No.
No, no?
No.
Can you start approving people then?
Yeah.
And remind me to start the recording before we begin.
Okay.
Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible to all of you. Maybe you could just say a yes on the chat if you're able to hear me and see me clearly.
Yes, T.
Could someone else also confirm? Could you just type it in?
Hi, good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
Awesome.
Yourself?
Awesome. So just wait a minute or two for others to join in. So we have students from a lot of different time zones. So let's give them a few minutes to join in. Otherwise, they'll probably watch the recording later. Hi, Lydia, I can see you. How are you doing? You're on mute. Lydia, I think you'll need to unmute if you're saying something. Hi, Amar, how are you? Long time.
Yes, sir. Fine. Absolutely fine, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, Lydia, now I think you're off mute. I think now I should be able to hear you. Okay, cool. So welcome everyone to the first session of the course on cryptocurrency investigation. So let me just put on the, got it. So welcome everyone to the first session on the cryptocurrency investigation program. And we have a lot of students from around the world who are part of this batch. There are about 70 people in this batch, but they're all from very different time zones. So some of them will be probably looking at the lecture later in the recorded version. The rest of you who are live here, it's awesome. You will get to ask your questions in real time and get answers to them. So let me just begin with a quick round of introduction to myself. So I'm Rohas Nagpal, and I come from the cybercrime investigation background. In the year 1999, I set up an organization called the Asian School of Cyber Laws. And we've done investigation work in about 18 countries around the world. I have also had the privilege of teaching more than 100,000 students from around the world in the aspects of cybercrime investigation and cyber law. In fact, I came across Bitcoin somewhere in 2011 when I was investigating a case of the Colombian drug mafia using Bitcoin for payments. So that was my introduction, and I was quite amazed at the technology and how it was being used. And then I started to develop a deeper interest. I kept researching into that. And in about 2015, I moved completely into the blockchain and crypto space. One of the first things I did in that is I set up a startup called BankChain, where we had banks from various countries. About 37 of some of the world's best banks were members, and 3 of the top IT companies, that's IBM, Intel, and Microsoft. They were all part of this initiative. And we worked on various blockchain and crypto related solutions. Most currently, I am the chief blockchain architect of a project called the Hybrid Finance Blockchain. And I write a lot about crypto and blockchain. I conduct a lot of free online courses also, which you are all free to explore and join. Now, let me quickly share my screen with you and explain what we are going to be learning in this course. I hope you are able to see my screen. There's a mind map with the World Cryptocurrency Investigation in the center.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this course is divided into 4 parts. One is the crimes, one are the wallets, one is practical investigation, and one are cryptocurrencies. So in crimes, we are going to discuss what are the kind of crimes where cryptocurrencies are a very integral part. So we're going to talk about darknet markets. That's where we use technologies like Tor and the hidden web. And a lot of illegal things are bought and sold there. And like I said, my introduction to Bitcoin happened because of that, because some of the drug mafias were selling drugs, illegal narcotics through these dark markets. So you may have heard about something called the Silk Road. We'll discuss that in detail because that was like the world's biggest ever darknet market for illegal stuff. And they were only using Bitcoin for payments. We'll then talk about malware, so malicious software, which could lock up your system, and then you need to pay a ransom, and that ransom is payable in Bitcoin. Then we'll talk about money laundering, how cryptocurrencies are being used to convert black money into white. We'll talk about NFT related crimes. So non-fungible tokens have become extremely popular, but a lot of people don't know that actually non-fungible tokens are used for a huge number of crimes. So we're going to go a little detailed into understanding what that is. Sorry, what I spoke about malware earlier, actually I meant ransomware. And malware is other kinds of malicious software. Then we are going to talk about scams, rug pulls, and hacks. So these are very common terms in the crypto world, where somebody could come out with a new crypto project, get people to invest, and then suddenly the team vanishes. So we call that a rug pull, where they just pull the rug under the feet of the investors and they disappear. We have a lot of hacks that happen and millions of dollars of crypto are stolen. And then of course we have conventional scams. We'll talk about stolen funds, where hackers can break into your wallets and steal your crypto. And finally, we'll talk about terrorism financing, that how terrorists are today using crypto to raise funding for their illegal activities. So that would be under the crimes module. Any questions so far? I hope it's all simple, clear to understand what we're going to do. Yep, all clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Today we are actually going to be going into wallets, but why wallets are critical is because you cannot see crypto, right? It's not like gold, it's not like silver, it's not like cash. You can't see crypto. So where do you actually find it? What is it that you're going to seize? I mean, in a normal crime, you could catch the criminal and maybe seize a weapon from it, a gun, a knife, maybe cash. But in crypto, there's nothing really like that. So we have to understand, what does crypto really look like? How do we go and seize crypto from a criminal? So we're going to talk about hardware wallets, paper wallets, software wallets, and exchange wallets, right? Then we are going to do practical investigations, where we are going to see, okay, what are blockchain explorers? Because one of the unique things about blockchains are that it's very transparent. You are able to see all the transactions that have ever happened in the past on a particular cryptocurrency. Not in all of them, but in the pseudo-anonymous cryptos like Bitcoin. How do we do that? We are going to see how blockchain explorers will help us. We're going to learn how to analyze a crypto transaction. What is the data that it gives us? What evidentiary value does it bring in? We're going to see some of the best practices, that if you're going to go and seize crypto, what are the best practices to do that? If you're going to present this evidence in court, what are the best practices to do that? We'll understand in deeper about how the crypto ecosystem functions. We'll learn about centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. So centralized exchanges are the ones where, they do KYC, you are able to get data. Decentralized exchanges give you no data, but you still need to understand how to analyze them, because there may be some amount of evidentiary value we can get. And finally, we are going to do the cryptocurrencies. Now, there are more than 12,000 cryptos in the world, but all of them are not currencies. That's a very common misconception. We call everything as a cryptocurrency. No, only few of them come under a category called currency because they're used for payments. They're used as a medium of exchange. So we are going to discuss those in detail. So Binance Coin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Dogecoin, Ether, Litecoin, Monero, Tether, and Zcash. These are the ones that are actually used as currencies. So we are going to go deeper into them and understand how exactly they work. Any questions on the overview of the syllabus? Okay, awesome. All of you would have received an email which would have had a username, password, and a link to something called the Future Money Wallet. Can you just confirm with a thumbs up or a yes that you've got that email? Awesome. Now, Future Money Wallet is something that I've developed, and it is not open for the public. It's only open for people who are doing the course. And in this, it's going to be like a dashboard for you to use even after the course is done. And what I want you to do is when you log in later, you will automatically be taken to this page, and I want you to scroll down and you will see investigator resources, right? That's the part that's critical. All the things that we're going to do in this course, the relevant resources will be here. So you will be able to click and access them. I'll talk to you about it and how to access it. I just wanted you to understand that that's how the course is structured. Any questions? And the video of this session also I will share with the participants what's in done, because we have people from a lot of different time zones. For some people, it's like way too early in the morning. For some, it's very late. So they can always look at the videos and post their questions later. So now let me begin with the first module, where we are going to today talk about crypto wallets, right? So in this particular dashboard that we have, if you were to click, if it's open in front of you, great. If not, if you guys can just open it right now. And then, on this top, you see this infinity sign. If you click on that infinity sign, this is going to open up. Can some of you, if possible, just open that out right now? Okay, I'm presuming some of you are there. Now, right on the top, we see that the crypto market cap right now in billions of dollars is 1968, which is about $2 trillion. So this, according to me, is the most important metric or statistic. It's changing every few seconds. But if you ignore everything else, this is the one metric that we should be always watching, because it signifies all the cryptos in the world multiplied by their current price right now, put together, how much is it worth? And as we can see, it's about $2 trillion, which is phenomenal. So it kind of always gives us an idea, okay, great, that's where crypto stands right now. I'm not saying all of this usage is criminal, but that's a very important metric. Then when we look at the markets metric, and this is again changing every day, as of right now, there are about 9,893 cryptos in the world, which are active. And total is about 18,768. Now, obviously, as investigators, we cannot keep track of so many of them. So we naturally need to choose. But what we've also got to remember is many of the new ones that are popping up are the ones where scams are going to also happen. So this just kind of gives it to us at an overview. And we can see there are about 1,600 exchanges, out of which about 500 are active exchanges. So that's one statistic. Whenever you want, you can click it and you can get some ideas. Another very interesting statistic which I want you to understand is called crypto velocity. Now, if you've done economics, say in college, you would remember a concept called the velocity of money. So money is valuable because it changes hands. If money doesn't change hands, it loses all value. The economic value of money is because of its velocity, the speed at which it changes hands. And that's the same case with crypto. Now, what we mean by crypto velocity is it's a measure of how much crypto changed hands in the last 24 hours. And then we base it out and we kind of give it a number, which is easy to follow. And you're going to be very surprised to see that the number one here is Bitcoin Cash. Now, I'm sure many of you have not even heard of Bitcoin Cash. Am I right on that? Most people only know Bitcoin. You don't know Bitcoin Cash. Am I right on that? It's something most of you probably haven't heard of.
Right, sir. Right.
Yeah. But the point here is we realize that Bitcoin Cash has one of the highest velocities, and it always does, and which kind of gives us an indication that maybe why, are so many Bitcoin Cash transactions happening all the time? And one of the reasons is that it's very heavily used in criminal activities also. So if I was to take a guess, I would say today, while Bitcoin is definitely still popular with the criminals, I would say Bitcoin Cash is more popular, and a privacy coin, which we're going to talk about later, called Monero, is actually even more popular. So that's just something to remember. Now, let's just scroll right to the bottom of this page, and you will see something called generate paper wallets. So if possible, I want all of you to scroll to the bottom there. It's going to look like this. Now, let's click on Bitcoin. And immediately we see that this is a Bitcoin wallet. Now you're going to wonder, what the hell is this? This doesn't look like a wallet. I mean, wallet means it should have some currency notes or something in it, or maybe cryptos in it. No. In the crypto world, whatever crypto you hold is on a computer network called a blockchain network. So right now, all the Bitcoins in the world, they only exist as transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. Can you set up a node of the Bitcoin blockchain? Yes, anybody in the world can, right? But you cannot really see your Bitcoins. But when you have a particular address, say this is a criminal's address, say it's your own address, you can take this address to a blockchain explorer, which we're going to talk about later, and it will show you the balances. It will show you every transaction ever done by this particular address. Now, the person who controls this address, how is that person going to move his crypto around or her crypto around? Using this private key. So what happens is, when you create a crypto wallet, and that is step one, every individual has to create a crypto wallet, and you can create as many of them as you want. When you create a crypto wallet, this is what happens. 4 types of numbers, or in some cases 3, you can ignore the last one here, but in all others 3 is minimum. The private key and the public key are related to each other such that any transaction that you sign with your private key can be verified using your public key, which anybody in the world can do. And the address is a smaller version of the public key. So when I want anyone in the world to give me crypto, I will only share my address. And I'll tell them, can you share or can you send some Bitcoin to me? For sending, you only need my address. But if I want to spend my crypto, I want to now transfer it to someone else, I need to use my private key. And if anybody else in the world gets hold of my private key, my crypto is gone. I can never get it back. Is that clear? And that is why in many hacks, it's basically a private key which has gotten compromised. Someone's gotten hold of it and they managed to empty out all your crypto. Any questions? Yes, no, all clear? Okay, somebody has asked a question.
Yeah.
How do you know your private key, for example, in Binance? That's a very good question. So what happens is, when we talk about wallets, right? Let me go back to this. So we talked about what I have shown you right now is called a paper wallet. It's generated on your screen and you can print it out on a piece of paper. But when you're talking about an exchange like Binance, we are talking about an exchange wallet. And an interesting feature of an exchange wallet is you don't have the private key. That is why you may have heard this statement, not your keys, not your coins. What does that mean? If you don't have the private key, it's not your crypto, it's someone else's. And that is what happens when you use an exchange. So when we use an exchange like Binance, we call those exchanges custodial or centralized. They do not let you create your own private public key. They give you a username, password, you log in and you can see all your crypto and you can transfer it. But it is completely under their control. If the exchange shuts down or they decide to run away with your money, your crypto is gone and there's nothing you can do. Is that clear? So that is why in a Binance, you actually won't be able to see any of your keys. They will give you an address. The address will be connected to a key, but they control. You don't. So this scenario of you having these keys wouldn't happen on a centralized exchange. Lydia, I hope that answered your question. Anybody else has a question? We're going to go deeper into centralized exchanges, don't worry. So we'll analyze them more in detail. Right now, I wanted you to understand that this is how your crypto journey ideally begins. Now, suppose I was to go and look at Ethereum.
I have a small question.
Yep.
We have talked about Bitcoin Cash. So are these exchangeable, means to say Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, or are these different entities?
They're different. They're completely different. These are independent cryptos, all running on their own blockchains. But of course, there are ways you can swap one for the other, but they're completely different. They're all independent. Hope that's clear. Yeah. Of course, we're going to go a lot detailed into them in that particular module. Now, if you notice, When I generated for Ethereum, it only showed me 3. It didn't show me this WIF. So like I told you, WIF is a wallet import format. It's a shorter version of your private key, and it's not in all cryptos. But the first 3 are in all cryptos across the board. Now, why I wanted to show you what it looks like is, tomorrow, let's say you've caught a criminal or you are investigating somewhere, and if you see these kind of numbers printed on a piece of paper, you know what they are, right? It's always going to be these alphanumeric kind of strings. So now you know, when you see such a string, you know that it's probably going to be credentials or keys. And that means we need to be very careful what we do with them, right? Because they can be misused. So if you just print this and attach it to your investigation documents, anybody who looks at those documents can empty out that address and all the cryptos can be taken away. And we saw unfortunate case of this happening recently, where a very senior, respected, retired police officer was actually arrested because they have been accused of taking some of the cryptos away during an investigation. So you have to remember, this data cannot be publicly shared till those cryptos have been moved from here and transferred to another address which you have created for the purposes of your evidence. Am I clear on what I'm trying to explain here? Any questions on this? See, this is where crypto becomes very, very different. If we confiscate a cell phone in an investigation, we can keep the cell phone and take it to court. We can put it in a Faraday kind of an envelope so no one can access it, but the cell phone remains. But when it comes to cryptos, if we are going to seize cryptos from a criminal, which we're going to talk in detail later, we need to move them out of the criminal's address onto a law enforcement address, and then the crypto can be actually seized. Otherwise, the crypto can easily be taken off. You catch the criminal here, and his partner in another corner of the world could just move the cryptos out and everything's gone and your address becomes 0. Is that clear? Yes, no, any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. Now I want you to try one site. Just open that up on your, it's called bitaddress.org. I'm also going to just put it in the chat so you can click on it and open it. And something like this would open up on your screen. Are you able to open it out? What I want you to do is, once it opens out, I want you to see that here in the middle, do you see a number? Can someone tell me what the number says right now?
15%.
15%. Now I want you to just move your mouse randomly. And as you can notice, that number is increasing. And keep moving your mouse randomly on the screen till it reaches 100%. So you can just keep moving it. Right? I hope some of you, all of you are able to do it also. And everybody, every human being is going to move their mouse in a very different manner. So, and the moment it reaches 100, we can stop. And now what it's done is, it has generated a Bitcoin wallet for me. And in this, I can see, this is my address. This is my private key. And it says here, please keep your private key secret. This is what it looks like. And this is your address. You can share it to the world. This is what it looks like. So this is another way of generating a paper wallet. And you can even go and download this web page onto your browser locally. It doesn't need to be connected to the internet. It's running an algorithm to generate public-private key pairs. And this is another very interesting and easy way to generate, because it keeps it confidential. You are not asking a third party to generate your wallet, because they may store your private key and later steal your crypto. So we use methods like this to generate paper wallets. Is that clear? Any questions?
Clearly.
Awesome. Does anyone have any doubts so far? Okay. Now heading back here, we can see we can generate for Bitcoin, Dash, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, for all of them. Later we will see what each of these cryptos means in detail also. But the method they're going to follow is more or less, sorry, it's going to be more or less the same. And criminals would prefer to use a paper wallet because it's very, very difficult for anyone to track it down. they could then scan this, maybe email it to someone else, maybe keep it in an encrypted form. But we've got to be very careful. We have to analyze each of these. And another problem that comes in investigation is, let's say you just found these numbers. You don't know which crypto these numbers belong to. Is that a Bitcoin Cash address? Is it a Bitcoin address? Is it Ethereum address? There are so many of them. So that sometimes slows our work down. Sometimes we can kind of make out looking at it that, okay, you know what, this is a longer one, so this is probably Ethereum and it's not really a Bitcoin one. But again, it's not always very easy to do that. So sometimes we actually need to test this in multiple wallets, exchanges, till we finally figure out, okay, which crypto does this particular string belong to? Okay. So this was a paper one. Then we can have hardware wallets, which maybe next time around I'll show you, but it looks like a pen drive, right? Look wise is just like a pen drive, but it is going to contain these keys, these credentials. All wallets ultimately are supposed to keep these things. That's what a wallet's job is, to store your keys, and then in real time it can pull and show you all your transactions. Your transactions are not happening in the wallet. Your transactions are happening on a blockchain.
Do you want me to show you?
Pull and show you. Pardon?
Do you want me to show you the key?
Sure. Key or hardware wallet?
The hardware wallet, sorry.
Yeah, sure, please.
Just give me 1 second.
Absolutely.
In the meanwhile, you can continue.
Sure. So Shinam will just show you what her hardware wallet looks like. And then, yeah, Shinam, you can share your screen whenever you're ready. In the meanwhile, what I'm going to open up now is a crypto exchange account. Of course, if any of you have Binance or any other account, feel free to open that up. I'm going to open up a particular one which is called CoinDCX, very popular in India. And I'm going to show you how an exchange actually functions. Shinam, are you ready to show it or should I continue?
Yeah, ready. Can you see it?
Not really. Yeah, now we can kind of see it. I hope the rest of you can also see it. It looks just like a pen drive.
Yeah,
Right.
you just have to connect it to your computer, and then there's a small display, and you have to enter in the password. Every time you have to log in, enter in the password, and that's how you do transactions. These are small, you can see there are small click buttons.
In fact, why don't I make your screen bigger? I'm not able to do that. But I hope it's clear. All of you were able to see that.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any question?
No, the pink color, but yeah.
Yeah, so it could be any color. So you just need to be careful that now onwards, please remember, when you find a criminal with a pen drive, it may not just be a pen drive. It may be a crypto wallet. So then we've got to figure out what to really do with it. All clear?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Now, when I go to this exchange and I need to log in, so one is, of course, I need to enter my email address and a password. That's obviously going to be the standard way. And then it sends me an OTP, right? Let me just quickly enter that in. 994146. So as in any crypto exchange in the world, this is how it's going to work, where it would allow you to enter your OTP and log in. Now here we can see if we have a portfolio. So I've just put some sample coins just to demonstrate it to you. Now here we can see all the coins that that particular person has. And another interesting thing that we see here is it has an option to withdraw, deposit, and trade. So if I click on deposit, now it shows me an address, right? And it says that if you want somebody else from the outside world to send you crypto in your exchange account, please give them this particular address. So I could copy and send them. Now you may have noticed, where's the private key? There is no private key because this is not my address. This is an address generated by the exchange for me, which means the private key of this is under their control. And if tomorrow they vanish, my cryptos are gone. But they are giving me an address which I can share with the world to get money coming into my account. Is that clear? Any questions? Okay. I hope it's all clear. Can one of you just quickly give me a yes so that I know you're able to follow everything?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Then I can change and I can choose different cryptos. So I can say, okay, for USDC. So for every crypto that the exchange supports, they will give me an option to take this address and get money transferred here. And that's kind of a very simple thing. So now again, if you were to find somebody or you catch a criminal and you suspect that he has an exchange account, then you are going to need the username password. You are going to need that OTP, which could be coming to an email address and or a mobile phone. In some exchanges, it may happen multiple OTPs may be required. So that also, I think I'm having background noise. Can you all just mute your mics? Yeah, Shinam, can you just mute everyone's mics?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So this is what an exchange wallet looks like. So they've said your wallet address. Clear? Any questions? And
Yes, sir.
awesome. And then again for withdraw, we have a similar situation where we can withdraw also. So basically, if we want to take it out of the exchange and transfer it to our own wallet somewhere else, we have an option to do that. Then there is an interesting concept called lending in cryptos. So what happens is you can lock your cryptos with the exchange, just like you put money in a fixed deposit in a bank. An exchange can also take a fixed deposit and they can pay you interest. So as of right now for Bitcoin, the annual interest is say 4.75%. Usually the interest is much higher in Tether, which is a stable coin, which we're going to study later. It's about 12.5% per annum. Tezos, Kusama has 11. So like this, the rates keep changing. In fact, some of them even have 16%, 18% per annum. So here again, this is important for you to remember that a crypto exchange also functions kind of like a bank. It allows you to make deposits and then gives you interest on those deposits. What do they do with this money? They lend it to other crypto traders who will then take this as a loan and then try to buy more crypto and make money on them. And usually it's a very safe way because it's a completely collateralized loan that they give. So the only risk here is if the exchange disappears, which by the way does happen quite a bit. So we've seen last year some Turkish exchanges vanished. A few years ago, Mt. Gox, one of the biggest in the world at that time. It does happen almost every year, one or two exchanges just vanish. And very recently, if you saw this program on Netflix, a documentary made. So there was this Canadian crypto exchange and the owner came to India as a tourist and then died in Jaipur. And his wife said that all the cryptos which were in that exchange, all the private keys were with my husband. Now he has passed away, all your cryptos gone. And many people are saying that's a fraud. So now Netflix has made a very nice, interesting documentary on that. So that also happens. So it's important for us to understand what all a crypto exchange can do. If the locking percentage changes, does this affect, for example, someone who had locked in? Okay, that's a good question. No. So if you make, so suppose, I want to make my deposit right now. When I click on this, whatever I put in for a certain number of days, so the minimum is 70. So suppose I put a 50-day deposit. During those 50 days, if the rate of interest changes, that doesn't matter to me. As long as my deposit 50 days are going on, I will get the rate I was promised on day one. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? Then crypto exchanges also give you another interesting option called staking. Now, staking is different from lending. Lending is very simple to understand, like a typical bank scenario, right? You put your money, fixed deposit, get your interest. Very simple. In staking, the exchange is not really taking your money and is not lending it to anyone. But different cryptocurrencies, they work on different consensus mechanisms. So there's something called proof of work, and I'll share a detailed video with you for that. Don't worry. Now, proof of work is one way of creating new cryptos. And another way, which is more popular today, is called proof of stake. What does it mean? If you own certain cryptos, you can lock it with the blockchain and become a validator for transactions, and in return you get some rewards. So there are a few cryptos which do that. So now suppose I had a crypto called EOS And if I stake it with the blockchain, I can get between 1 to 2% per year. But it's a passive income. So as long as I want to hold to the crypto, I keep getting this interest. It's a little lower, but then there are some cryptos where very high returns are also available. And this is where a lot of scams also happen. Some cryptos may promise you really high returns. You may end up buying them. Let me just show you. And then you may realize that they have vanished with your money. The crypto was actually a fake or it wasn't doing anything sensible. So here you can go to a site called stakingrewards.com. I put the link here in the chat so you can all click on it and go there. Now, what this site shows us is that what are the different cryptos, and if we wanted to stake them, what is the kind of returns we can actually expect. So you can see, you can just scroll down and you can see tons and tons of cryptos. So some have 6% reward, 4%, it could go up to even 100% in some, right? So you can just scroll that and you can see it. So this is another site that you may find useful. Clear? Any questions so far? Yes, no?
Yes, I don't really see any questions.
Awesome, awesome. So we saw lending, we saw staking, and then of course we have the very simple thing which is called the trading. Now, when we look at trading, there are certain things that we need to understand. Although I understand you are going to be an investigator, but you still need to understand what really happens on a crypto exchange. It's kind of very similar to stock exchanges. You have prices which are constantly moving. And the one interesting feature which you usually don't find anywhere else is going to be the concept of a trading pair, right? So let's take an example. Let's say that I want to buy a crypto. So can any of you name a crypto other than Bitcoin? Just name whatever your favorite crypto is. Anyone? Okay. No one? I'll put my favorite. So one of my favorites is BNB, right? Now, the moment I said BNB, it gave me a list of options. Okay, someone said XRP, I'll do that next. So right now, if I want to buy BNB, I can buy it against multiple other cryptos. So I can do BNB against Bitcoin, the rate is here. I can do it against other stable coins, the rates are here. I can buy it against Ethereum, the rates are here. So what you start to realize is you can buy a particular crypto against other cryptos. And that is your first indication of whether a crypto is a medium of exchange or not. If an exchange shows you that you can buy BNB against these 6, we immediately come to know these 6 cryptos are functioning like medium of exchange. And that means we need to track them down. Criminals may also be using it for that. So we see suddenly something called DAI comes into the picture, which otherwise you may not have even heard about. So this is a very good way to come to know in a particular exchange or in a particular country, what cryptos are being used as medium of exchange. Let's take an example of XRP. So again, with XRP, it shows us a whole list, but it is more or less the same kind of list. Let's try Solana. So with Solana, it again shows us a list. So for every crypto we begin to see, it is the same medium of exchange cryptos that are used, right? And that is the reason in this course, we are going to focus on those. So we are going to focus on BNB, Bitcoin, BUSD, which is a stable coin, and USDC, another stable coin, USDT, another stable coin, and of course, INR, which is the local currency. So in every country, you will also have the local currency as a trading pair. Is that clear? Any questions?
No questions, Deep.
Excellent. So this is what a typical exchange interface would look like. The trading allows you, what we are doing right now is called spot, which means you instantly pay, instantly buy. There is something called margin where you are taking a loan to buy. And then there is something called futures, which talks, I don't know if you've ever used derivatives. You buy options and futures. So that exact same thing which happens in the stock market, happens in the Forex market, also happens in the crypto market. Some of these techniques can very easily be used for money laundering also, which is why I'm explaining the basics to you right now. Then we had for earn, we had 2 options. One was lending, one was staking. Quick buy and all we can ignore. Now, when you go to anybody's, let's say this was a criminal's account and you are investigating it. One good thing to look at is their order history. So it will show you all the things that have been done on that particular account. So all the filled orders, open orders, cancelled orders, all the details are here. You can see the selling, you can see the status of that order, you can see the trade pair, the date and time, and the prices. Now this becomes important if you are a tax enforcement officer and you want to figure out what has this person done and not done and how much profits have they generated. All that data will be available to you here in the order history. Then there are other things which you can also see like margin history. Then we can also see funds. We can see the wallet history. Let me just click on that. So here again, we can see now what is different here. When a crypto exchange gives me an address to use, what all have I done with that address? That is something which can be seen from here. So I may have made a transaction of $400 odd, $2,500. So I have actually in the past used, I like to use the lending option because it gives me double benefits. I mean, one is I can hold my money in a US dollar stable coin. So I'm getting the appreciation of the dollar versus rupee, and I'm getting a good rate of return, which may be 14%. But I have to pay tax on this. So that is why this is important for tax officials to understand that these are the different ways in which someone in the crypto world makes money. And then you need to figure out how to actually get the tax from them. Is all of that clear? Any questions whatsoever? Or are we clear about exchange wallets? So we've seen paper. We saw what a hardware wallet looks like. And from a functionality perspective, a hardware wallet functions just like an exchange wallet. I mean, it allows you to send crypto, buy crypto, pretty simple. Then I'm going to show you now a software wallet or a browser-based wallet. So all clear? Any questions? Yes, no?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now let's have a look at something called the Trust wallet, a very, very important wallet that I want all of you to know about. So this is one of the most popular software wallets in the world, right? Now, what is special about it is that it has access to a lot of different blockchains. So one is it allows you to buy crypto from a credit card. Secondly, it allows you to exchange instantly. And there are no forms to fill, no selfies to take. They don't do KYC. They don't care who you are. All your data is very confidential. And you can very easily download this. It's an app available on Android, Google, Apple stores. Anybody in the world can download. You don't need to give your KYC and you can immediately start using crypto. So definitely criminals also use it. I'm not trying to say only criminals use it, but it is quite popular. They've also made a special wallet for El Salvador. Can anyone tell me why El Salvador in particular? Any ideas?
I think legal tender, crypto
Absolutely
legal
correct.
tender there. Right?
Absolutely correct. So El Salvador was the world's first country to make Bitcoin legal tender, which means if you are in El Salvador, you can walk into a McDonald's and buy a burger and pay using crypto, Bitcoin. So, but that Bitcoin has to work fast. So they made a separate wallet for using Bitcoin in El Salvador, because later you will realize even Bitcoin has different protocols it runs on. And there is something called Lightning Network, which makes Bitcoin much faster. The rest of the world is not using Bitcoin as fast as some parts of the world use. So that's why the reason I wanted to just introduce that concept to you. Now, another great thing about Trust Wallet and why I'm specifically talking about it is it supports many different blockchains. Now, this is an important concept for you to understand. A blockchain is a computer network. Yeah, can you just mute? So a blockchain is a computer network, and there are many different blockchains in the world. Usually, for each kind of blockchain, you have an independent wallet. Then there are some wallets like Trust, which allow you to hold across blockchains. So Trust Wallet supports 53 different blockchains and more than 1 million different assets, which is NFTs as well as cryptos. So it becomes very easy for people to hold all their assets in one wallet rather than trying to open separate ones for each different crypto they hold. Like, let's take a simple example. If I was using this crypto exchange, they don't support all the cryptos in the world. There are more than 100,000 or rather 1 million plus crypto assets. I can use some here. For some, I can generate a paper wallet. But if I use something like Trust Wallet, I can hold everything in one. Now I'm going to show you a browser-based wallet, but again, that holds only certain cryptos, not everything. So that is where a wallet like Trust Wallet creates a much needed simple interface to hold multiple assets. More than 1 million assets are held. Questions?
I don't really see any questions, Steve.
Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log into.
Can you just explain this concept of like whether each and every different kind of assets will have different blockchains, or multiple assets will be sharing the same blockchain?
Excellent
that-
question. Excellent question. So blockchains in the world are divided into two types. One are blockchains which support one asset only. Classic example, Bitcoin. It supports one asset called Bitcoin. Another example, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. They only support one asset. Then there are blockchains like Ethereum which support unlimited assets. So Ethereum is a blockchain. The native coin of that is ETH. Of course, we're going to do that in detail later. But anybody in the world can go and create other assets on top of Ethereum. So Ethereum may have millions of assets running on it. So you have two kinds of blockchains. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm just going to pause my share. What can you see on the screen? Can someone just tell me?
Trust Wallet.
Yeah, okay. Because I had to just open up my password file, which I didn't want to do on screen. So I'm going to now show you a very interesting. Okay. Now let's have a look at. I'm going to share my entire desktop. Okay. What are you guys able to see?
Google.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to open my MetaMask wallet, which was for some reason it's a little slow. Yeah. So now can you see the MetaMask thing opening up?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is a browser extension, right? So if we want to download MetaMask, so while you are listening to this session, if some of you can download it, awesome. So you can just Google MetaMask and the first link, it's called metamask.io. So once you open this, Koda, can you just paste the link on the chat? So what MetaMask is doing is, it is going to run as a browser extension in Chrome and other such places. I'm going to show it to you on Chrome. Now, when we access it, because I already have it set up, I enter a password. Now, please remember, this is not my private key. This is a password to now access my wallet. So it's kind of like a double security layer. When I enter that password, it now shows me what are the assets that I actually hold inside my MetaMask. So right now, are you able to see it? Can one of you tell me what you can see on the screen? How much of balance of Ethereum?
0.0269.
Sure. Next time, Sriram, someone other than you can answer. I just want more interaction from everyone else. So now what it shows me is, okay, I have this much Ethereum balance, which is about $86 worth as of right now. Another interesting thing it shows me is account 1. Now, what does that mean? It basically means I can create multiple accounts here. So I can create multiple accounts, each of which can have their own wallets, like the private key, public key, and the address. And I can export my private key from here, or I can view my account details on Etherscan. Now you'll wonder, what is Etherscan? Now Etherscan, which I'm going to talk about in depth later also, is a blockchain explorer, and it shows you all transactions being done on the blockchain. So when we look at our MetaMask, we can see this balance is 0.0269. So when I clicked and I opened up Etherscan, it now shows me that exact same balance. And this is open to the world to see. This is my address, right? And this address as of right now has this balance. And if I scroll down, it will show every single transaction that I have ever done with this address. And you will notice here in the URL also, it's the address here. And you may notice Ethereum addresses or other transactions always begin with this 0x. So that again is a quick way of identifying. And even the addresses start with a 0x usually. So that's why somehow we can even look at an address and figure out, okay, this must be an Ethereum address. So this is your introduction to something called a blockchain explorer, which we are going to explore later also. Going back to my MetaMask wallet, I hope some of you have been able to download it. It shows me that I received this. So all my transactions also can show up here. Now, an interesting thing is when I click this on top, and this is what I want you to understand, MetaMask supports multiple blockchains. So Ethereum is one. Then there is something called Binance Smart Chain, Testnet. There is something called Matic Network. These are independent blockchains. Now we realize that only a few are supported here. But in Trust Wallet, 53 blockchains were supported, but MetaMask only supports maybe 5 or 7. In fact, even in Ethereum, there are test networks it supports. So that is the reason a lot of people, especially criminals, would not use something like MetaMask. They would ideally use something like Trust Wallet, because otherwise they won't be able to have all the cryptos in one place. So here I can see that on the Ethereum mainnet, my balance is this. But if I go to another blockchain, let's say I go to the Matic network, there my balance is 0 Matic. I don't have any balance. Or if I want to go to the Binance Smart Chain, I have nothing there. So for each of these networks, I can use this wallet to check all my balances. So now on the Ropsten test network, I have about 6 Ethereum and all the transactions are below. So if you are investigating somebody's MetaMask or similar wallet, then you have to keep all this in mind, that there could be multiple accounts running in one place. Right, let me just expand the view. So a little slow. Yeah. So I can see all the transactions that are happening. And from here, I can even send to someone else. So suppose I want to transfer, I can enter that person's address here, or I can transfer between my own accounts. So as of right now, there are 2 accounts. And under each of these accounts, I could have so many different things happening. So you've got to be very careful. Go one by one, check each and every blockchain, and then check each and every account and figure out what all that person has. Clear? Any questions?
Clear, sir.
Awesome. Then I can go here and I can create a new account. I can give it any name. So let's say I call it investigation, right? And then I can create an account. Okay. Now I've created this absolutely right now. So obviously my assets are 0. My activity is nothing, and it's nothing across. But later when I start to do activities, then I'll be able to see all of them across these various blockchains. And if I just simply click on this, it copies it to the dashboard, to your clipboard, and then you can paste it into any reports that you're generating or anything like that. So MetaMask is fairly popular. You can then import accounts from other places. You can connect a hardware wallet. So Shinam showed you that hardware wallet. A hardware wallet can also connect to your MetaMask, right? Then there are a whole bunch of very interesting settings. Now, this is another very important thing for us to remember, right? So especially what I wanted to show you is there are logs which we can generate. Another thing is security and privacy. Now what happens is, in these kind of wallets, there is something called a recovery phrase, and this is critical. A recovery phrase will be a bunch of words, right? Normal English words. So it could be 12, 24, 48, any number of words. You only need to remember those words. So I can type those words or write it on a piece of paper or keep it in my email. Then I can delete my MetaMask. I can then set up MetaMask again on any other browser, on any computer in the world. If I enter my recovery key correctly, it will recreate my addresses and private key, public key, everything, and I'm good to go. So if you're holding crypto in places like MetaMask, you need to back it up and keep it so that you don't lose all your crypto. Because if you lose your private key, your crypto is gone forever and nobody in the world can help you. Trust me, I've done this. I mined some Bitcoin way back in 2010, 2011, and then I deleted it because I never thought Bitcoin will become valuable. And now I can see them on the blockchain, but I can never use them. because I don't have the keys anymore. So if it is your own, you need to remember, please note down your phrases very carefully. And if it is a criminal's, then you need to realize that if you can get the criminal's key phrase, you can get all his cryptos. So if you find random sounding words written somewhere, those could be key phrases. Is that clear? Questions? Yes, no, all clear? Okay, somebody is going to have to answer yes. Till then I can't proceed. Awesome. So one of the homeworks I'm going to assign you is to set up your own MetaMask and then explore it. Another very interesting thing is something called the Brave browser. Now, have any of you ever used this browser before? Brave? It's very useful.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. So I want all of you to use the Brave browser, or at least to download it, because what happens with this browser is, one is of course it's enhanced privacy, which basically means, it blocks anybody trying to track your movements across the internet. But more importantly, it has a lot of crypto actually built into it. So it can give you rewards for viewing ads, for example, and those rewards will come to you in a crypto called BAT, which is Basic Attention Token. That is a token running on top of Ethereum, but it is used in a lot of online advertising platforms, and a lot of people can actually hold their crypto also here. So when you are in Brave, do you see this option called wallet on top? Is it visible? Yeah. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, when I click on that wallet, it firstly asks me to enter my password, and then I can actually have all my crypto being stored here. So you're going to have to give me, okay. What can you guys see? Shinu, can you see my password?
No.
Okay, awesome. I'm just going to get my, okay, and I cannot find the password. I just created it for today's session, but I don't know where I've saved it. Okay, doesn't matter. It's very simple to understand. And I want all of you to try to download the Brave browser also on your own, and then you can set this up for you. So I'll try to get my password and show it to you guys later. Okay. So Brave browser is again something very useful, and in your investigations, you are very likely to come across Brave browser in a lot of cases, right? Questions? There's another very interesting option here in MetaMask, which is called network. So people can add multiple crypto networks or blockchain. Again, why is this important? Because criminals have also become very smart. So now a lot of the criminals, they actually use their own blockchains. Many of them will not use things like Bitcoin. They will not use Bitcoin Cash. They will actually end up using their own cryptos, because creating your own crypto is today extremely easy to do, right? So a lot of criminal networks, especially I've seen them in organized crime like narcotics, they have their own blockchain. They create their own crypto, then they open it up as networks integrated with MetaMask and other wallets, and there's virtually no way for anyone to come to know, because there is no public explorer available. The only way you would be able to do something is getting into their wallet. And that is the reason when you go into anyone's wallet and you see networks, please go through all of them. If you come across something there which seems out of the ordinary, go deeper, because that may be a unique blockchain that they are in. So when you see things like Ethereum, Ropsten, all that, you can ignore. Those are common. Then when you see things like localhost, okay, there may be something to investigate. If you see something like this, which you don't know what the name stands for, you may need to investigate, because they can create as many networks as they want. So here you could write anything, right? You could write your own test investigation. And of course, you need to be a little tech to create your own blockchain. But once it's done, you are able to integrate that into your wallets. And that becomes fairly easy to use. Questions? All clear?
Yep.
Awesome. So now let's do a quick overview of what we've studied. Okay. So we first understood the overview of the syllabus. Then today we've done the wallet part. So we saw a paper wallet, hardware wallet, software wallet like Trust and MetaMask, and I showed you an exchange wallet, which in this example was the CoinDCX exchange. So now we've understood the various kinds of wallets that exist. I will share the recording with you, and I will also share some homework which I want you to do. And then we will have our class exactly at the same time next Saturday. So we would have 4 classes, 1 on each Saturday. And please don't forget to log into the Future Money wallet. You've got the credentials with you. And I'll be putting your videos and other things also inside this platform. So you can just log in and have a look at them. Now, if you have any questions, we can take them. Otherwise, we are done. So I hope this was an interesting learning experience for all of you. Okay, there are a couple of questions here. Let me just answer them. Give me a second. Okay. Maybe know the destination of transaction from the link received by a victim. So when I do Blockchain Explorers next week, I will be showing you how to do this. So that's a good question. We'll do that next time. Then another question is suggest a tool. Which tool are you referring to? Could you be more specific? Someone's asked about a tool. Which tool are you referring to? Any open source? Don't worry, I'm going to refer a lot of tools. I will teach you the tools first, and then I will ask you to use them. So we'll be doing that next time. Yeah. Any questions on what we've discussed today? Okay, then have a nice weekend, and I'm going to see you guys next time. Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Most welcome.
Thanks a lot, sir.